Hi, good morning, everyone. I hope everybody is doing well. I'm Aditya Shekhar, your host for today. We are joined by the giants in the legal academic field today. We have everybody representing the UPES School of Law. We have Vijay sir, who is the Dean of Law from UPES, and he has been an instrumental faculty, an instrumental force behind setting up this tremendous law school in Dehradun. We also have Ashutosh sir, who is currently a faculty at UPES. He is assistant professor senior skill there. And we also have Abhishek sir, who has a unique career, I would say. He has been a part of Shardul Merchant Mangaldas. He has also been a part of academic forte, so to speak, and he has his own practice setup as well, and he teaches as well. So we've had we are joined by people who have done enough in academic field to give you a perspective of how if at all you choose a career in academic, how will that career pan out for you guys to be. So welcome to the show, Vijay sir. Welcome to the show, Ashutosh sir. Welcome to the show, Abhishek sir. Hope all of you are doing well today.
Yeah, thanks Aditya for such a nice warm welcome to all of us.
Right. So, sir, I would start from you. Now goes without saying the kind of achievements you have had in your kitty. You have an LLB, you have an LLM, you also have an MBA, which is another interesting addition in terms of degrees, which a lot of law aspirants nowadays want to have. Sir, can you tell me why did you choose MBA after LLM?
Okay, that's a great question, Aditya. And see, I would say that I am still a student. So this is my first tip to anybody who is attending this particular session, that a law student always remains a student if he really wants to, you know, excel and become successful in his career or her career. Because law requires constant updation, right? And it is a multidisciplinary field. It is a field which requires knowledge not only from law, but from varied areas, varied sources. So I did management because my area belongs to corporate law. And if you really want to succeed in the area of corporate law, you need to have understanding how management works. And from a perspective, if you see, management course or management program has a lot of subject which interrelates and cuts across with law. To give an example, if you talk about marketing management, I think no one can teach computational law without understanding how finance and marketing works. If you are talking about organizational behavior, I believe we all are working in organizations. And one of the major chunk of the practice which happens is in relation to the organizational behavior. On a larger periphery, Ashutosh will agree with me, he deals with constitution. I think human behavior overall, political behavior overall, these are the things which you must know if you really want to practice and excel in the field of law, because law is nothing but all social interactions and governing those social interactions within a framework, right? So this is what law is all about, policy is all about. So I think management was my decision, and I started doing my MBA from IGNU, and IGNU offers an opportunity to everybody to provide this decision, which was to supplement my understanding about law and understand how practically things work. So I can say that I benefited a lot. At present, I am Dean, School of Law, and I did my MBA in MBA HR. So HR is a very important function that helps you a lot to understand that how things work practically.
Thank you, sir. That was a super insight with respect to how you have been managing things as well. And as you correctly mentioned, especially studying, or having a degree in business administration is quintessential for every corporate structure. And you being dean, I'm pretty sure it must be helping you with respect to administering the entire campus, which itself is huge. So, of course, with a mix of law and management, that's again, and a lot of students recently have started taking management very seriously, especially for those people who want to join these big IIMs or better universities abroad. Law gives a very good basic exposure in terms of graduation, and a lot of IIMs also prefer these students for diversity. So that is a thing which a lot of people have started realizing recently. So thanks a lot, sir. That was a wonderful insight. Now my next question is to Ashutosh, sir. Now he is currently pursuing a PhD from NLS Bangalore, and his specialization is human rights and international law. So, of course, he has done his law as well from a very popular and a very old university, which is University of Allahabad. So, my question to you, sir, is what exactly is the role of specialization? So, for instance, you have done your specialization in human rights and international law. Do you also go ahead and teach students human rights and international law, or what kind of role has this specialization done to your intellect?
Okay, thanks a lot, Aditya. So basically, I've done my LLM in international law and human rights, but right now, for the past 5 or 6 years, I am principally teaching the constitutional law. But again, I'm say that the perspective of international and human rights, especially the human rights part and along with the international law, it helps me a lot in giving me a broad understanding of the Indian constitution. Because when I read the constitution during my LB days with a very certain perspective, I read in different manner. But right now, when I teach this constitutional law, because every day you will see, for example, I think yesterday I read an article written by Menka Guruswamy. So she is comparing the Indian constitution with South African constitution, and she related with the cricket team because India is right now touring South Africa. So she is comparing the Indian constitution that how they have helped their society. And for example, right now, if you see the South African team, so in South Africa team, there's a some time of quota policy that within 11 players, at least 2 black players should be playing, at least 3 non-white players should be playing. So she compared this with the Indian constitution thing. So if we have this broad understanding, then of course it gives you a different perspective about the whole subject. As far as the specialization is concerned, so no doubt right now this particular field of specialization will help you a lot, especially if you want to go in a particular field. For example, right now, if you see the advent of technology with law. So, for example, in our place, there's a BTech LLB. So, I think, for example, this data protection law, which is going to come very soon. So, if a person is having a knowledge of technology along with law, so I'm thinking that this is the future there. So, whole AI thing, everything is there. So, if you know technology along with law, so this is going to be a game changer. And as we move ahead, our life is going to be very automated. Of course, there's different perspective on the AI and many other things. But I principally think that in this coming era, you need to have certain specialization. This is my take on this question.
Right, sir. Thank you so much for your answer. And my next question is, of course, to Abhishek, sir. Now, if I talk about Abhishek, sir, he himself is an institution of sorts, I would say. He has partnered with one of, two of the very important firms in the country. So he was a part of Shardul Amarchand Mangaldas Mumbai, and he was also a part of Khaitan and Company. Interestingly, he has formed his own firm, which is Non-Just Lex. So, welcome, Abhishek sir. It's a pleasure to have you. My question to you is two. In fact, is of it could be asked in two parts. One is why or when did you realize that you will be interested in academics along with working in a full-fledged firm? And the second question is, since you have you are dual qualified, you can practice in England and Wales and India as well. Why India as a country? Why not settling abroad, or why not making your own firm abroad? Why did you think you wanted to work in India?
First of all, pleasure is all mine, Aditya. Thank you very much for having me here. Uh, so there are two interesting questions which you have asked. I would like to take the second one first. Why India? Uh, for the last 16, 17 years, I've been practicing corporate law. And if you see, law as a profession is not geographically agnostic. So if you have laws related to India as a jurisdiction, there are different laws. Of course, the basic principles remain the same. And again, the laws which are there in England and Wales are different. Uh, as far as practicing in London is concerned, or outside India is concerned, I did, tried working as an international attorney in Japan for 1.5 years. But the culture, the way I see it, the culture of corporate transactions outside India gives you a little less exposure as compared to India. And I'm saying this from my own experience, because an attorney, an international attorney, will do one transaction at one time. But India, if you see top tier law firms, you will be handling 3 to 5 transactions at a given point of time. So my requirement at that young stage was to get most of it in a short period of time. And that's why I preferred India. Of course, you have to put in a lot of effort at that point of time, but the kind of exposure and learning which you get is vast. That's the main reason why I am in India, and most probably I will be in India till the end of my life. Okay, and the first question is
And
why I left.
we are happy to have you here, Abhishek. Thank you for taking that decision, because that is a good thing for students. So Aditya, I would just like to tell you that this is a blessing in disguise for the students. And in fact, the industry should venture out into the teaching some component, because we are considering about corporate social responsibility. I believe there should be something called professional social responsibility as well,
Absolutely.
and particularly from the bar and bench. That some amount happy that Professor Abhishek, that you have taken the call to give maximum time to the students. It's good.
No, thank you very much. Thank you for giving this opportunity, Dr. Vijay. Aditya, just to quickly tap on your first question as to why I left the mainstream legal consultancy and I'm part of the academics. The way I look at it, that the industry and academia are not two different segments. Everyone looks at it as two different components. The way I see that, there is a very large overlap, because academia gives consultants, and at the end of the day, consultants will not be able to advise if they don't have grasp over the basic academic construct, let's say the laws, the changes in law. So both has a very large or substantial overlapping concepts. So it's not that I was away from academia. Even when I was a partner with Khaitan and Company, I used to teach at different law colleges. Of course, not as a full-time professor, but running their diploma courses and all. And I was also the HR partner for both the firms when I was there, Shadul Amachand and Khaitan. So as the HR partner, I used to go for recruitments at all the top tier law colleges in India. And I realized it very soon that there is a disconnect between what is being taught in law colleges versus what is the expectation of the big corporates, MNCs, and the consultancy firms, not only the legal consultancy, but accounting and LPOs as well. So that was my vision. And that is still my vision, to bridge this gap between academia and industry. And that's the main reason why I jumped the ship from mainstream consultancy to academia. And I'm still trying to work towards it. I'm not completely cut off from consultancy. Working as a professor, I still have some connects on the consultancy part. So I hope that has answered your both
Absolutely.
questions.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Abhishek sir. That was a wonderful answer. My next question is to Vijay sir. Again, this is basically a couple of questions, or a set of two questions. The first question is to pick up on what you left in your last statement, wherein you say abridging the gap between academia and the law profession in toto. So we have seen in US the people who practice in bar at evening, they go ahead and teach law in the various prominent universities. So why is India lagging behind? Why can't we have something like that? And you are running an entire law school. You are the dean of law of UPS. That's a huge responsibility. So can you tell me the practical difficulties which you face when uh, 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 you can't bring a lawyer on board to teach as well as practice law, or do you think it can be done, or it is something which can be done in a couple of years? And the second question is slightly personal. We just wanted to know how your lifestyle is today, like what is your daily routine like when it comes to going ahead with UPS, the administrative work, all of that. So if you can answer that, sir.
Okay, so before I provide a peep in my daily life, let me take your first question. And in fact, I would tell you that we at UPS are innovative enough to include practical into the teaching. So when I make that particular statement, I exclude UPS from that particular category because we are practicing it in UPS. So in fact, our model of teaching is that every teacher is supposed to have at least 2 to 3 sessions from experts in their session. So whether it is constitution, administrative law, evidence, or criminal procedure, they are supposed to curate their course plan in a way that there are at least 2 to 3 sessions which are taken by experts, and these are basically the practitioners. We call it master classes. So that is how practical input goes into it. In fact, some sessions which I will be taking, or maybe Abhishek will be taking, or some other practitioners which we have as professors on board will be taking, will be completely practical, because we share our experiences in our practice and our experience with regulator and all those things. Other than that, we are also incorporating a bit of an international component in the courses, because now we are in a global world, and having an international perspective of things is very important, because international law is impacting everybody, and international development is impacting everybody. Either you talk about COP or political developments in other countries impacting the political developments in our country, or for that matter, you talk maritime law, law of the sea, or maybe aviation. They're all across. There is an internationalization nowadays working, including the sustainable development goals, which we are saying, the 17 sustainable development goals. So I believe there is a cohesion which is required, and we do it by 3 ways. One, we talk about the curriculum, and curriculum is continuously revised, and that is where you seep in the practicality which you are looking at. Second is the pedagogy, and the third one is bringing the holistic and wholesome multidisciplinary experience which our university offers to us. So we do it practically. So we just don't just say it. So if you say, for example, a student working on patents in my law school has a complete access to the patents filed by the university. University has filed patents. If there is a legal entrepreneur who wants to do something on entrepreneurship, I have got business professors who can teach them marketing, organizational behavior, and all sort of things. Other than that, there is a standalone, entrepreneurship cell which we have launched, that is called Runway, which supports not only with the ideas but also with the funding and with the initial, in startups, we call it a valley of death. So we try to help them during that particular valley, So that is a practical approach which we are taking. When I teach media and entertainment, I don't just rely on the courses which I teach. I have got our VFX studio, and all those modern studios are in the making right now because it is just a 1-year-old school. And I have one of the best professors in the university, including Nalin Mehta, who has just recently authored one book. So I believe that kind of a exposure is available to the students who are with us. And I believe practical information, practical aspects providing to the students is very important. There is another dimension to practicality when I say. We all will be talking about subjects. We all will be talking about the professional practice. But what matters the most is to build people, and teach them the life skills. Learning life skills is very, very important, because if you learn life skills, you will make a good living out of your profession wherever you are. There are students, because we are having a large chunk of students. And one of the primary objectives of the university is that we are working with a purpose. And the purpose for which we are working is student development. We are working keeping student at the core. We want that these students who pass out from our university become good citizens. They contribute to the society, not only in terms of earning bread for their family, but also looking at the society as a whole, developing the community in which they are living. And that is what we are trying to do from the first semester itself. If you will see, we have got a mandatory social internship for all our students in the university, including the law students, wherein in the first year, we send them to a NGO. And this NGO can be human rights, this NGO can be environmental protection, and many more NGOs. And they will spend a month there. They will be learning. They will be bringing back the reflection. There will be a faculty mentor who will be helping. Coming back to this mentorship thing, it is very important, that a student has that particular mentor throughout the 5 years. And we follow that. We have a mentor. Each student has got a mentor. And this is other than the course mentors, because academics, as I told you, school for life. And when we are saying, focusing on life skills, giving them a personal mentor with whom they can discuss their ideas, their life, what they are thinking, maybe some personal problems. I believe these are the areas which needs to be focused, and that sets us apart as a university. And we are making a lot of developments around professional development, personal development of our students. So this was the first leg of your question, right? So plenty of efforts happening there. Coming to my personal life, I think it is quite sorted nowadays. So, it's morning, you have to get up. And I envy Ashutosh, he keeps running in the morning. So I always think that, yes, I will also run in the morning, but I don't run nowadays since last, I think, 1-2 months, because there is a lot of preoccupations happening on personal front. But ideally speaking, it would be a morning walk or something in the morning when I get up, and then get ready for the university, because you have to report by 9. I go to university generally by 9, and stay in the university till 6, 5:36, 7 sometimes. And this is the duration of work. And when I come back, maybe I spend a bit of a time with my kids, and then thereafter sit for some research, about 2-3 hours, and then go to bed. And then that is the routine which follows. On Saturdays and Sundays, Anjani doesn't leave me. So we are having these sessions, which I call it as professional social responsibility, reaching out to our students, mentoring them, telling them as to what could be best for their life. Because I feel that as a professor, we all have responsibility to guide students, irrespective of the fact that students study in whichever university. Because we consider that all students of this particular nation have to be nation builders. And that is something which is our responsibility as professors to guide them. So we keep on doing these sessions, helping students to shape up their career and allowing them to understand that what is in store for them in future. During the day, probably I will have a couple of meetings with my program coordinators, the academic team, administrative team, with the vice chancellor at the university, because we are 8 schools here. So we all deans sit together, and there are a couple of meetings wherein we strategically decide what needs to be done, how needs to be done. And then I also teach. So I go to a couple of classes and have first-hand experience with the students. I enjoy that the most, I must tell you, because given a chance, I would like to spend all my whole day with the students. That is something which gives the most pleasure to any professor. And since this program is Life of a Professor, Abhishek and Ashutosh will agree with me on this, that the maximum satisfaction which you draw is in the class. When you go into the classroom, see the happy faces, and you can help them learn even a small concept, you feel very, very happy, very, very proud. Being a professor, there are certain publication responsibilities also with us. So we have to publish, we have to write. So that activity also, whenever I find time in between, I continue with that. Other than that, there are other disciplinary matters, something keeps on. So this is what is the typical routine of professor come dean. Otherwise, professors teaching research, this is what is the majority of the time they will be spending. I hope I answered your question, Aditya.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. That was a very exhaustive answer, I must say. And a lot of people they keep on choosing academics over work-life balance. This probably is more than that. As you correctly mentioned, the kind of satisfaction which a person gets after inculcating or after teaching a student a small concept. That feeling is simply unparalleled. So, for a lot of people, of course, this feeling is something which they cannot, exchange for anything else. And that's why, such respect for the professors all around us. And that's why, all of us who have gone through the university phase, the amount of respect which we have for you guys, it's simply unparalleled. That is something which is which always will be there from the bottom of our heart. So, anyways, the next question is to Ashutosh, sir. As we already know that lawyers are considered to be social engineers. Now, there are, a group of students who at times might not be interested in, pursuing what is being taught in the classroom. My question to you is a little sort of, I don't know, it could be considered interesting by some as well. How do you tackle these rebels in your class? So for instance, if you're teaching a concept and there comes a group of student who is disturbing you or doing things of sort or irritating you, how do you tackle it, Ashutosh sir?
I think you have asked this question rightly because I am the proctor also in the law school. So I hope you know this. So I am taking this responsibility of proctor for the past, I think, 3 years.
Right.
So of course, in a class, there will always be a group of students who will not be that much interested and they can disturb you. But at the same time, it's my personal experience that intellectually they are very intelligent. So maybe they are not very good or they don't want to devote too much of time in the classroom study. But if you interact with them outside the classroom, so they have some great ideas. And I must confess that I have seen many people who are not very good in the my classes, but they are doing really, really well. So my point is that you have to engage with them. So maybe some students are very good in sports field. So there also they have shown a tremendous leadership quality. Same way, of course, if there is a point which comes that you have to take some decisions, so as per our university rules and regulations, then we have to take some decisions regarding their discipline things. And it's right now disciplining the student is a very, very critical thing because it's not like in our generation where the professors say that you get out of the class, so I will get out of the class. Right now the student can ask me why, then it will be a little bit very troublesome in the class when you keep on arguing with the student. So it's better to, but I think it's up to the teacher itself. Every teacher have its their own unique quality. But I think that if I am delivering well in the class, so I think most of the students will not trouble you. Maybe they are not deeply engrossed in it, but I think they will not trouble you. But right now, if you see the current generation, so you will find that their whole energy is too much matlab. So you have to somehow you have to tackle them. So maybe you can involve them in some assignments. So for example, in our colleges, when we punish some students, so best punishment is that you can say that suspend them for 10 days. But I think right now, if you punish a student who don't want to attend to class for 10 days, that's a blessing in disguise for them. So, so maybe right now we will say that you have to go and be in library for 2 or 3 extra hours. You have to prepare an assignment extra. So for example, there was a student who caught in some ragging type of thing. So he was involved. So, and some smoking type of thing during the campus. So I along with Vijay sir gave him the assignment, right, to find out the rules and regulations related to the smoking laws, that what is the Supreme Court judgment on it. And he was, I think, first year student. And yes, after I think 1 day or 2 days, he brought to me 2 to 3 pages write up. So he quoted certain judgments. So at the end of the day, it will depend from teacher to teacher that how you have to tackle with this troublesome student. But no doubt, every class will always be having them. There will be no class without them. And I think sometimes they make this class more interesting and more challenging also.
Yeah. That's what it's a small microcosm of people who have varied interests, and there's this small saying that people who sit at the back bench, they are usually the ones who are doing amazing in practical life. So anyways, that's and my question to you, why this question is because there's a significant chunk of the classroom which is sitting piche and not doing much. So in a law school, of course, if I look at the percentage, that's around 20-25% of students who are not actively involved in academics. So how do we tackle them? And as you correctly mentioned, of course, you have your own way of going about these students, because of course at the end, what matters is how the university has performed in total. So of course, as it was the most suited question for you, as you are the proctor of your university as well. So thanks for the answer. My next question is, of course, to Abhishek sir now. My question to you, sir, again, is a series of questions. In fact, two questions. One is the fact that you have already your own law firm, established law firm, which is there, and you are teaching as well. Now, notwithstanding the fact that India is moving towards a system in which practitioners are also getting involved in academics significantly. But how do you think practically it is for you when you have your own firm and you have academics as well? Of course, there's a huge overlap, but practically speaking, how do you divide your time with respect to both the things?
Okay. So I'll take this question a little differently. It's also about the way you see things personally. Not every consultant would be ready to teach. And similarly, not every teacher would be ready to do consultancy work. So it's a personal preference, is what I would say. I know many consultants, as you said, who do the consultancy work in the morning and teach in the evenings. So it's a personal preference. At the same point of time, I would also comment that law as a profession, you don't have the concept of work-life balance because it's a myth. This is a profession which is similar to, let's say, medicine, or similar to if you are getting into army, because this is your life. And life of a lawyer, life of an academician, or even a law student is your passion. If you're passionate about what you are learning, what you are doing, that becomes your work automatically. So I will not even say that the line between work and life is vague. There is no such line itself. It's your life because you are passionate about it. And the time this passion comes from within, you will automatically be inclined towards getting that wholesome experience, as Dr. Vijay articulated initially, that you get that sense of achievement by taking a simple 1 hour session. That's an achievement maybe for the entire week, that you feel happy about that session. So I'll say it's a personal preference. But most of the consultants I know, they are passionate about the work they do, and they are teaching or they want to teach. So that's the way I would like to put it.
Right. And a second question is actually from a student who asks, what is the process of obtaining a dual qualification? So I think you can answer that as well if you can.
So the dual qualification certification,
Right.
when I did it, was way simpler. It was called as QLTT, Qualified Lawyers Learners Test, way back in 2009. But now it is QLTS. So it is little difficult now, because 2 years you have to spend in London if you're talking about England and Wales, where you have to do an internship under a qualified solicitor, and then you have to pass certain examinations. And I was a science student, so for me, accountancy was a little difficult. So of course, I had to prepare well and take the exam. So it's a two-step process. First, you have to show your eligibility. You must have qualified at the qualification degree must be there from your home jurisdiction, which is the LLB in India. And then you must appear for the exam. Once you have cleared the exam, then 2 years of internship under a qualified solicitor, and then you get on the rolls of England and Wales as a solicitor.
Right. Thank you so much.
There's one more step. Sorry, Aditya, just to complete there's one more step of getting a practicing certificate, but that only you get once you're working in a law firm there in that jurisdiction, and you have to pay some hefty amount as the practitioner fee.
Right.
So I thought I'll just complete the loop.
Yeah, that's called
Thank you so much.
pupillage, I think, right?
Yes.
Okay. So the next question, of course, is to Vijay sir. Now, sir, I have seen your CV, so to speak, and I was just reading it for I think 5-10 minutes, and I was not able to understand how can a person have so many degrees with them. So my question to you is, of course, you have done your LLB, you have done your LLM, you have done your PhD. A lot of students who are interested in academics know this for sure, that they will have to do their LLM. If I talk about obtaining a PhD in law, how difficult is it, and how much time did it take for you to complete a PhD in your case?
Aditya, thank you for that question. And doing PhD, as Abhishek pointed out, is a passion. So there are two kinds of people who do PhD. One who wants to, get their tenure track and complete their academic thing, UGC requirement and mandate. So that is a kind of a, ticking the box PhD. And there is a PhD which a person does with a passion, right? So I would always say that when you are ready with a passion to do your PhD, you should do your PhD, because it is a serious, effort and serious thing to do. As far as status of research in India is concerned, it is not that great, and which is quite evident from the UGC regulations, because UGC had to publish in 2018 anti-plagiarism rules and regulations. That itself is a testimony that what kind of a research work we are doing in our country. So I believe now, since last 2-3 years, and particularly after national education policy, the focus on research is changed, and now we are talking about serious stuff. In fact, the idea for doing PhD is to help the society at large. If your research is not able to help the society, if it is not building up the body of knowledge which already exists, I think PhD has no meaning. So anyone who is interested and who wants to contribute, who wants to go ahead with a PhD program, I believe this passion should be there. It should not be, just tick in the box that, yes, I want a doctor in front of my name. Nowadays, anyways, we have stopped using this doctor and professor before our name. It is first name basis which we are being called, So I love being called Vijay. So is Abhishek and Ashutosh and Aditya. I believe we all have got beautiful names, and it is good to hear your name. As far as research degree is concerned, I feel that it should be with an objective of contributing to the existing body of knowledge. In terms of the process, I think process is pretty simple as far as India is concerned. If you want to do a PhD, you have to clear the entrance test. All the universities who conduct the PhD program have got an entrance test. If you have qualified the UGC entrance test, that is UGC NET and JRF, you are exempted from this test in the university. However, you have to write an SOP, that is your proposed thesis which you want to do, proposed work which you want to do. And then there is a committee which sits and they review your proposal, and they see that what is the weightage of proposal and how that proposal is drafted. If they see value in that, there is a committee which sits, and then they accept your proposal. Thereafter, you have to do your coursework. So UGC provides for a coursework, and this coursework is about 3-4 subjects. You have to do some research methodology, is a mandatory course. And once you clear this, you are entitled to submit your synopsis. So you present a synopsis before a body of experts and face the open viva, whatever suggestions are given. Then you start your PhD work. It takes about 2 years. PhD submission time is 3 years. You can extend it till 6 years. Depends on the university. They may grant one more extension of a year or two. And that is how your PhD gets completed. So minimum, I think it is 3 years, and maximum is 6 years. That is what is the time period. As far as my PhD goes, my PhD was on corporate criminal liability, and I did my PhD somewhere around 2009. Submitted it, and it took some time to get awarded. So PhD, when I say I completed my PhD in 1.5 years, so it was a doctrinal study, and I was in Hidayatullah at that point in time. I was assistant professor, just started, and I did my PhD within that time. However, the submission took more time than my PhD I completed. So it was a traditional university. It took a bit of a time. So that is what is the journey on PhD. Mandatorily for doing PhD in law, you have to do your LLM. So you have to be masters in law for doing PhD in.
Right, sir. Right, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Now, my next question is to Ashutosh, sir. As Vijay sir was reminiscing his old days when he was a young professor. Right now, I think you are.
Aditya, sorry to interject. He's still a young professor.
Right. With the kind of energy he has, that's something which I think none of us can beat. So, of course, yes, he is a young professor. But still, Ashutosh sir, you have recently taken this transition from being a, not very recent, but yes, somewhat recent, from being a student of law to a law professor. Your journey must have been pretty profound. My question to you is, how do you see yourself in the transition, and what was it which pushed you, or rather gave you that impetus that you want to do something of this sort? Of course, for some it is the work life balance, but as Abhishek sir pointed out, it could be different for people. My question to you is, what gave you that impetus for going ahead with a career in academics, and how do you feel right now, having shifted from a person who was basically at the receiving end, and now you are the one who is imparting the legal education and doing an amazing job? How is your journey, and how are you feeling right now, and what basically gave you that impetus?
Okay, so basically the impetus come from my father only, because my father was a professor. So he was a professor of engineering. So in Allahabad, there's an Institute of Engineering and World Technology. So from my younger age, I saw my father, that my father used to have a very simple life. Right now he's retired and he's doing farming activity. I love his life. Basically, he have to go, and he used to bring with his readiness register, and he told me that kindly count this, how many people are absent and present. So I think that teacher is having a lot of power. So, and then sometimes he used to check copy. So I used to see, and when I see that my father is failing someone, so I feel very bad. My papa, I asked my father that why you are failing him. So basically the impetus came from my father. So I used to love his whole life. But as far as law field is concerned, so my father is from engineering background. My brother was also engineering plus management. Right now he's in France. So when I opted for law, that too in Lahore University and 3 years. So someone asked my father that why he's doing law, because you are engineer and my brother is also engineer and doing in from Lahore University. Because generally in traditional university, still the notion is that you will do the law once you are not left with any option. So I still remember that in my class, I used to be the youngest student because my other student is basically of 40 years of age, because that's how the thing works in Lahore University. But the good thing about the Lahore University is that it gives me a whole different perspective about the whole life, because it challenges you, the politics, the day-to-day struggle for everything in traditional university. So it gives me a good thing about the whole perspective. After my law was completed, then I was filling the form of LLM because I was decided that I will be doing the LLM. So I wanted to do it from Lava University, but my professor told me that don't do it from here because you will not get 55% of marks. And it's very difficult that you will be able to complete it in 2 years. That's how the traditional university works, still even now. So then I appeared for the CLAT and I got National Law School and things after that. I cleared the NET exam. Initially, when I started teaching, so it was a very, very challenging. Still, it is quite challenging, and especially in this era of internet, because what I speak today in my class, it can be countered if it is not right. So some student can ask me, whatever you are saying, this is not showing in the internet. But this happened. So what I realized in the very beginning, it's always good to say that I don't know, I will get back to you. So if a teacher is saying that I know everything, I think then it's not a good thing because it's impossible. And sometimes I think the student will keep on challenging you, especially if the student finds that this is a new law professor. And this new law professor, so basically they will try to prove that how can you be a teacher technically. Sometimes they will try to pull your legs. Some students, I still remember that some students will keep on preparing the questions. कि आज इससे ये पूछना है. So they will keep on challenging you. But later on, if they realize that after 10 to 15 classes, know that you are doing your work, you are coming preparing well in the class, you are coming in time, you are taking the effort to teach, then I think gradually they will start respecting you. So no doubt initially it was challenging, but what I find right now that if you are putting the effort in the class, that's the most important thing. Because a student is not interested technically that how many papers you have published and all those things. At the end of the day, he is also a selfish person, that what I'm delivering in the class. If I'm not good in the class, so whatever I'm doing outside the class, I don't think that he will be that much interested in it. So he is very, very selfish that whether I am contributing in his development or not. Because right now information is everywhere. So teaching 10 years back is altogether different. And teaching right now is altogether different, because if you keep on reading everything that is there in the book, so he will ask that why I'm in the class that is available on YouTube. So many lectures are being there, and that too by good professors all over the world. So why I should be hearing you? So you have to keep on improving. You have to give him something which is not available elsewhere. So that's why he will be basically motivated to attend your class. And right now it is a challenge to motivate your students to be in your class. That's what I want to tell you.
Right. Amazing.
Yeah, so Aditya, I would just take a minute. So
Sure, sir.
thank you, Ashutosh. Actually, it is more about interaction. It is more about challenging the students and bringing in that perspective. So if somebody is thinking that it is just information dissemination medium, it is not, because students are having many medium available to them from where they can get the information. If you really want to make a difference in your classroom, you have to have innovative methods to
I think so.
teach and bring it forward. For example, yesterday I was watching and it is a movie in Tamil, and I saw the English subtitles. That is Pushpa. I don't know how many of you have seen that particular movie. I think the younger generation who are attending this session would have already seen that particular movie. There is a scene in that movie, and that relates to competition law, and that is basically talking about cartelization. So there is a syndicate of all sandalwood sellers, and they are enforcing the cartel. So they're exact. If you have to give a practical example of enforcement of a cartel, this is what the scene is, wherein they are having a meeting and they are thinking that who is going to lead that particular cartel. And it is a wonderful scene, and I just recollected instantly. So this is what is life of a professor. So professor always, if he is passionate about his teaching or his work, he will always find instances, events to quote in the class and relate it to the subject, because this is where you bring practicality into the classroom and making it interesting also for the students.
Thank you so much, sir. That
So
was
Aditya, that's exactly what I was, trying to
right.
articulate, that
Right.
a professor is always a professor. So even while Dr. Vijay was watching the movie, he was still a professor. From the student's perspective, this is the new example.
Right. Which brings me to the next question to you, Abhishek sir. So you've seen it all from the early years when you were an associate in these prominent firms to becoming a partner in these prominent firms to establishing your own firm and now to impart legal education. My question to you is very simple. I just want to understand the basic skill sets, and by skill sets I do not mean knowledge of various tools which you use and all of that. I just want to understand what should be the intent of a student to make law a lasting career for themselves. So you have been extremely successful, you have done it all with respect to law. You have established your own firm, you have been a partner in one of these prominent firms. And for those of you who do not understand what partner is, I'm pretty sure you might have seen Suits. So in Suits, if you see Harvey Specter, that that's what Abhishek sir used to be. So he has been partner in two prominent firms. So imagine that. So I just want to understand what if, and you have been an HR personnel as well for your firm. So I just want you to understand, what do you see in a student when you are when you want them to be a part of your team or make a lasting career in law. Abhishek
So,
sir, if you can throw some light.
this is a very fairly simple question. I'll tell you the way I see it, and the way most of the top tier, law firms, the managing partners also see it. There are only three broad categories and fairly simple categories. One, being diligent. Knowledge, awareness of law, knowing the law, it's not even coming there. So being diligent is number one criteria. Second, as Ashutosh was pointing out, that one person cannot know everything. Okay. So it's not about knowing everything, but knowing where to find it. So that direction, that approach. Okay, if there's something I know, I should be looking at maybe SEBI laws, maybe FEMA regulations, and I will find it. So knowing where to find it is the second category. And the third category, if you really, really want to excel in, corporate law, your commercial awareness. So you need to be commercially aware what's happening in the business world and also understanding those terminologies. So you cannot, not know about those terminologies, understand the commercials of a transaction and become a corporate lawyer. So these three things are a must. And the last one, which is, I'll say it has the outstanding performance, is you cannot see law as a career, as a 9 to 5 job. Even as an academician, even as a professor, I have recently joined UPES, so I cannot view it as a 9 to 5 job. The time I start looking at this profession as a 9 to 5 job, then my own progress stops. Classic example is Dr. Vijay. That movie example is a classic example. So these are the four simple criterias that personally I look at.
Right. So, thank you, all of you. This is from the bottom of my heart. This was an amazing session, and as we can see, the attendance has not dropped at all. So, you can imagine the kind of fixation this session had. It was just lovely to host all of you. It was just an amazing, journey which you guys have undertaken. And I would open the floor for the questions from students. If at all you have any students, you can write it down on the chat box, or you can put it up on the Q&A section as well. And I would also like to invite Anjani, if you can throw some light on UPES, its admissions, and the students who are interested in getting an admission in UPS. If the prerequisites and all of these things can be told to them, it would be great. But thanks, all of you, Abhishek sir, Ashutosh sir, Vijay sir, from the bottom of my heart. It was just an amazing feeling, and to get that perspective of how things are done from the other hand, or the other part of the table. It's simply amazing. So thanks so much again for all the three of you to join us.
Pleasure was all ours.
Right. All right. So Hari has a question. If we are looking forward for corporate, is it necessary to do an MBA? So as Abhishek sir has already mentioned, it is not necessary. MBA is only, if you want to change streams, or if you want to specialize in business administration to
You
join.
can, in this Aditya, I would say that the student who are interested in corporate should prefer BBA LLB and BCom LLB. These are the two streams which they should prefer, because in their non-law component, they will be oriented towards the business paper. So
Right.
it is kind of a exposure to them. And in case they feel that after their 5-year LLB, they want to go into a particular management stream, I would say.
Right.
So for practicing in the court of law, or maybe for a law firm, it may not be necessary. But if they really want to go for, say, for example, they are joining any big company in
Right.
their legal cell, probably that may help them from a leadership perspective. Because
Right.
only from that perspective it will be necessary. Otherwise, not. Because I recollect one of my students doing MBA immediately after that, because her goal was to do something different in leadership position. So that is how it would work.
Right. Thank you so much for that insight. So that answers Hari's question. Anonymous attendee asks, what is the process of obtaining a dual qualification, which is already answered by Abhishek sir. What options are available to pursue a law degree abroad? So yeah, there are two ways of going about it. One, to get your graduation. So that can be done through LSAT and a host of other examinations. If you want to go ahead and study in, so UK, Canada, all of these countries have their own separate examination. For US, it is LSAT. To get graduation, it's a different course, and to get post graduation, you will have to basically submit your basic CV. There's no requirement of examination after you've done your graduation to do a post graduation from abroad. But the difference is significant in terms of post graduation. Of course, the job opportunities, I would say, are not stifled, but of course are significantly different, because there's not a lot of value which post graduation from abroad gets. So a lot of people just go there for the sake of it and for getting more exposure. But if you think that I'll do a post graduation from abroad and I'll bag a job, that is not the case. That is seriously not the case. On the other hand, for graduation, of course, the amount of money which you spend is slightly higher, and therefore the possibility or probability of you fetching a job is also higher, I must say. So you are studying 3-4 years of law, so of course, so that is there. And the other interesting thing, if you are thinking of going abroad, is to have or target colleges which have JD, which is law and MBA साथ में, and that definitely increases your probability of getting a job. So that's a way of going about
On this particular thing, degree abroad, you appropriately said, Aditya, that UG and PG will differ. And if you are going for a UG, so many a times what happens is people want to spend a semester abroad.
Right.
So you may look for an institution which offers semester abroad. So even if doing, because it is a costly thing to study 3 years or 5 years in the foreign land, and you can get that kind of an exposure by spending a semester abroad, which we offer with all our programs. There is a semester abroad available to our students, which they can spend in UK, Singapore, and about 70 universities we are in tie-up along with our group. So that helps the student to do that. Secondly, if you want to go for a PG degree, then there are progression agreements which are available. So generally, if you go directly, then there are many things which you have to process. But if you are going through a university, through a progression agreement, that helps you because you are straight away placed to a university. Like, for example, we are having a tie-up with the University of Law London, which prepares barristers and solicitors.
Right.
So a student can directly go through our channel. That is something which helps.
Right. So, and the channel's website is already mentioned here. As all of you can see, it's there on the chat window. You can apply for UPES, and you can also check out their website. So it's one of the most prestigious universities in India, one of the most private universities in the country, and you can definitely check them out. So we will wind up the session. Thanks again, Vijay sir. It was lovely to hear from you those precious words with respect to anything. The kind of clarity with which you articulate things, it's simply unparalleled. So I must say, all of us are extremely impressed and thankful to you that you chose to come and enlighten us with your words. Thanks, Ashutosh sir. It was lovely to understand your perspective and your way of going about the students, especially the rebels. That was another thing which you correctly pointed out. And thanks, Abhishek sir, for this amazing insight with respect to this amazing concoction of having successfully dealt with corporate law and now on the other side of teaching students. So this is simply something which a lot of people have started undertaking. And with your experience and whatever you said today, I think a lot of students will be enlightened with respect to what kind of job profile do they want for themselves in a law career. So thanks all of you. It was lovely to host all of you, sir. With this, I think we
Yeah,
should.
sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to add on one thing. Before we end up the session, I just request Vijay sir to focus some light on BA in Legal Studies program because that is a new program which we have added this year.
Right.
So, sir, if you can throw some light on it so that students
I think Anjani, thank you for that particular question. BA Legal Studies basically is a program which we have come up, Aditya, and this is a new addition for us. And idea is that there are many students who want to take a break between. So they are not yet decided whether they will go ahead with a 5-year law program because commitment for 5 years is a longer period.
Right.
So for those students who want to just test the waters and want to do a graduation from a good university, and they are destined to appear for civil services or maybe want to do MBA immediately after graduation. They don't want to, like some couple of students asked a question about MBA, right? So this BA Legal Studies will give them the grounding of law along with the life sciences kind of a thing. And then thereafter they can choose. Either they can go for 3-year LLB thereafter, or maybe an MBA, or maybe they want to do a job or appear for civil services or any competitive examination. So for the students specifically who are not yet decided but want to do a good graduation and want to have an orientation in legal studies, because what we believe is that nowadays after graduation the job opportunities are in multiple fields. However, if you are having a good exposure of legal studies, which is basically all political scenario, constitution, basic legal understanding of managing an office, I believe this is something which makes you job ready rather than earning a plain BBA or plain BCom or plain graduation or BA. So that is the objective, and we are also coming up this year with our School for Liberal Studies. So this School for Liberal Studies will be offering courses in economics and this. So this is kind of an integration which we are bringing forward for the students. So this is a new course. And I think, Anjani, we should come up with this a separate session on this, course, because I believe that will require a more orientation and student audience would be different. Probably here the audience are more interested in law, but still students who are not yet decided, they want to just go for a graduation degree, they can think about BA Legal Studies. It is a good course. You can have a look at the curriculum. And any questions, anything you can address to Anjani, we will be more than happy to answer that.
Right. All right, sir. It was lovely interacting with you and lovely watching you speak on various topics. So with this, we come to the end of the session. It was lovely interacting with all of you, all the participants here. Hope you had something to gain from the session. Hope life as a law professor is more clearer to you. The kind of difficulties, the kind of challenges, the kind of job satisfaction which professors have, and hope you are able to see things from the other side of the bench. So I would request you to be a little more patient when you are, attending a lecture from professors. So, all right, sir. It was lovely interacting with all of you. Thanks, Abhishek sir, Ashutosh
Yeah.
sir, and Vijay sir. It was lovely watching you speak.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a nice weekend. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a nice day. Bye-bye.